Well, hello, Brian. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to be doing this edition of our Coaches Roundtable. And today we're talking about symbols and tattoos. So, some fun research. Our team of coaches are available to help anybody that has questions about whatever they might be working on in their lives. And we also have a link below to join the community for free. We have an online community that's supportive. So, oh, well, hello, Jonathan's going to join us. Hang on. There he is.
What's up, man?
Hey, Jonathan. Hey,
Hey,
I'm gonna put
I
you.
am.
It's so good to see you. Um, let's see. Call your name right. Jonathan. Welcome back from your travels to Mexico City.
I made it.
Yeah, we're happy that you're back. Well, we were just saying that today we're going to talk about symbols and tattoos. And yeah, a little bit of the history, how people use them to sort of self-express, the different ways people have been tattooing themselves. I mean, there are tribes that tattooed themselves, 1,000 years ago. So we have a modern version of that, but it's been going on a long time. So
We
well,
are we already
we're
recording or?
recording. We're recording. We just hit record as you joined. So your
Yeah.
timing, as usual, is perfect. So I'm going to share quick slides because that's how I do it. I do the do, and we're going to present this. Woohoo! Okay. So our discussion about symbols and tattoos, and I found two
Mm.
examples. Here's a Christian cross on a gentleman, and here's kind of a flower with a word. I'm not entirely sure what the word is, but it's pretty, and she's, expressing herself there. So let's go into the next slide. Here I found some hieroglyphs. And these are from Egypt, 3,000 years before Christ. This is how they communicated in language. You can see there are some crosses in there. There are things of nature, birds and mountains and suns and rivers and all of those things with different meaning. So, yeah, the kind of symbols we see today often are religious symbols. So, I knew a coach who had a tattoo on the back of her neck that was the Om symbol. And every once in a while, she would have a dream of someone that she was sure she knew, but had never met, a gentleman. And they ended up meeting online. Both were married, both had kids. He had the exact same tattoo in the same place, and they knew that about each other because they had been dreaming of each other. And so, how they lived across the country. So sometimes symbols are identifying marks, but there's lots of interesting stories that are told about tattoos and why people choose the ones they have. So common tattoos, we can chat about that today. We mentioned religious symbols, hearts. Sometimes people are enamored of a musical artist or a famous person or a member of their family who they may have lost. And those tattoos are significant for them and they put that ink on their body. These pictograms from Egypt from 3,000 years ago are not that different from cave paintings or cave drawings. In the research for this show, in the show notes, there's a paper that shows that the cave paintings you find in caves around the world are very similar. Even though the people are dissimilar, most of them showed wildlife and nature and the sun and the moon and the stars. And so we've been drawing symbols that were important to us since man began, I think. Um, there are some universal symbols. I think of the like no admittance, the circle with the line through it, like don't go here. And there are symbols like the Red Cross symbol is kind of like for hospitals or medical help. So there are some symbols that we use today that are, beyond any language, roadside symbols and so on, that everyone, no matter the language they speak, understands what that symbol means. And then we can talk about emojis if you want to. I did a little research and emojis began in Japan. I assumed, I guess, as an American, that they began in Silicon Valley because that was my first use of them on a phone or a colon and a parenthesis to make a happy face while I was typing. But the language in Japan are pictograms. And so it seems natural then symbols, would come from a language that uses pictures to communicate. So, yeah, it was in the 80s that they started using emojis in Japan. And it was 1999 before some Japanese makers of uh, phones and pagers added the 176 first emojis that were available. And now, of course, all different kinds of emojis are available. So we'll talk symbols and tattoos, the ones maybe we find meaningful, maybe the ones that are silly, why people choose what they do. And okay, now we have some memes, and then we'll have our conversation. So I liked this one to the left with the butterfly, except there's a spelling error in it. There are two types of people in the world, people who like tattoos and people who are wrong. Then here's a gentleman who points out tattoos are like potato chips. You can't just have one. I know people who get one and then, well, they get another one and then later they get another one. And they have different tattoos to show off. So show me your tats. That phrase has been said maybe a million times. Show me your tats. Okay, and then up at the top, tattoos, because being an adult is hard and I deserve to have stickers. Okay, thanks for having our slides and sharing. So I don't know, Brian, we normally start with you. Do you have some thoughts about different symbols and tattoos?
Yeah, let me jump in. I want to jump into some radical ideas about it, which is what I
Jonathan
like
is.
to do. I like to I like to do crazy ideas. Um, so I think you can bless yourself or curse yourself with a tattoo, right? So for sure, like I mean, there are symbols, they have meaning, it does affect you. There's a certain energy to the tattoo, and when you have that on there permanently, that can either bless you or curse you.
Hmm.
So I think people like if you get like demonic tattoos, like devils and like horror movie type stuff, I honestly think you've cursed yourself.
Hmm.
Like you're attracting those kinds of energies into your life. It's like a beacon, and the opposite is true. You could put like a rune, which are like symbols which have like protection type meaning. Like there's different symbols that mean like, prosperity or peace or love or protection. If you put that on you, you're probably going to attract more of that into your life on some level, to some extent, right? Like to some extent, everything is magic. Like, honestly, this is true. Like, if you go back and think about how did the universe even get here, there's no real answer. Basically, it was magic. Like, the original being, God, did some magic and now everything's here. Like, there really isn't a better explanation than that. I know science tries to come up with stuff. They're really not getting anywhere. Ultimately, they can talk about certain physical processes that occurred, but they can't get to the fundamentals of like the essence of what really happened. So it's basically magic. There's magic to everything. Like the things we say, the things we think, it's all spell casting to a certain extent. There's a magic to it all. The symbols you put on your body,
Mhm.
there's a certain magic to that. It's going to have a certain energy signature that affects you. So I think people should, be aware of that before they get a bunch of tattoos. Um, I think that's a good idea. Um, and I think it would be awesome if we came up with some better temporary tattoos.
Mhm.
So, like, they have henna tattoos, but they only last for what, like 2 weeks, a
Mhm.
week or something,
Mhm.
maybe 3 weeks. And it's usually just brown, reddish brown. You can't get different colors. I think what would be awesome is if you could get a tattoo that lasted a year
Mhm.
and it would fit with your New Year's resolution. Okay. So, like, for this year, this is the game plan, and everybody can see it. This is what I'm freaking doing. Okay. Like, it makes you stick to it. Everyone can see it. It slowly fades out. So, like, towards the end of the year, you can start slipping a little bit and you get ready for next year's. Like, that would be awesome. And
Okay.
then you're not locked into it for life. That would be great. I think someone should invent that. I don't know how you would do it, but that would be awesome. Um, but yeah, talking about symbols, I mean, symbols are a way you can communicate a bunch of meaning very quickly.
Mhm.
So, in just one image, you can communicate a bunch of meaning. And a tattoo can do that.
Mhm.
Regular symbols can do that. Like, I think the yin yang symbol is just a perfect example of this.
Mhm.
That can communicate so many different things
Mhm.
all at once. So, if you look at Taoism, the yin yang symbol can communicate basically their creation story, like the way they think creation happened. So, out of formlessness, forms came. And then forms eventually merge back with the original formlessness. That's kind of the Taoist understanding of creation. So their sort of God concept is there's an original formlessness. It's something that's beyond all forms, and all the forms emerge from it, like you and me, like life forms, planets, universes, dimensions. Those are all forms that emerge from it, and then they eventually emerge back into it. And like the white teardrop and the black teardrops symbolize, formlessness and forms, and they kind of circle back into each other. So you go and become forms for a while. You can have a bunch of incarnations. Eventually, you merge back with the formlessness, and the cycle repeats. Eventually, like this formless being will eventually create another universe or another dimension, and it all happens again. But what's interesting is you can interpret that multiple ways. Like I've seen people do it. I know a guy who does like dietary coaching, and he's interpreted the yin yang symbol in terms of masculinity and femininity.
Mhm.
And so you can say like, so let's say the black teardrop is masculinity, right?
Mhm.
You have a small white circle in it,
Mhm.
and that represents that in his opinion, he's talking about men should be mostly masculine, but should still have a little bit of femininity, which that little
Mhm.
circle represents. And that way you can at least relate to women,
Mhm.
understand women to some extent.
Mhm.
Like if you're 100% masculine, you won't even understand women.
Mhm.
You won't even like care how they feel or what they think. You'll just be like, that's not how I see reality. Like, so you have to have some. And so the idea is women need to have some masculinity inside them, but just that small circle. So and you could take it a bunch of different directions. There's so many different ways you can interpret it, but that shows you how one symbol can communicate so much meaning, right? In just one image. So I think that's cool. And like, Christians like can wear like a necklace with a cross on it. That one cross can represent so much to them. It can represent like that Jesus died for their sins, or it can represent their faith, or it can be a reminder for them to pray, or to go to church, or to read the Bible, or it can be a reminder to not sin. Like, don't go out and get drunk tonight because like they feel the cross and they're like, yeah, I shouldn't do that. It can mean all those things to one person in one symbol. Um, so yeah, symbols can be very powerful. I mean, in a sense, words are symbols of meaning, right? Language is symbols. Like if you look at sign language, it's literally just hand symbols and they create the entire language out of that. So, I mean, symbols can be very powerful. Tattoos can be very, very powerful. Um, yeah. So that's how I would get us started. You know, if anyone wants to jump in.
Sure, Jonathan, do you have some thoughts about tattoos or symbols or emojis?
Yes, I was actually looking up the actual definition on the dictionary, like the English definition of symbolism,
Hmm.
and it is not that far off for like it is a basic definition. It's like the way to literally communicate an idea that is going to have different meanings. So like for example, like the apple.
Hmm.
Like for Adam and Eve, whoever knows like that story,
Hmm.
which is most people, I'm sure. Uh, the apple is one kind of symbolism,
Hmm.
but then for Newton, it goes in his head, and
Hmm.
for him, the apple is a whole different kind of symbolism. So
Rabbit.
it seems,
Mhm.
yes. So it seems like for me, it's like a great I'm thinking as a highway, okay? I'm thinking like a freeway without traffic. It's like a great way to communicate something without having to like go into specifics of it. Like it's a simple way to communicate an idea
Mhm.
for like a whole bunch of humans. And it's true. It's very easy to like use this like a picture or like everybody, this is something, no offense, but like the middle finger.
Mhm.
Like everybody in the whole world, doesn't matter if you're Chinese, Mexican, black, white,
Mhm.
everyone can understand. Nobody goes with this finger.
Mhm.
Nobody goes
Yeah.
with the other finger.
Mhm.
Nobody goes like
Yeah.
this. It's like a symbolism that everybody understands. And
Yeah.
it is actually, it kind of unites humans in a way.
Mhm.
Because it's a universal language. You don't have to
Yeah.
speak.
Mhm.
Uh, you can have a very low or a high IQ, and you will get the point.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's it's beautiful, actually. I love symbols.
Mhm.
When it comes to tattoos, I really like tattoos. I don't have any yet. I'm sure before I die, I will have a couple. Because of my tendencies, I haven't put any on my body yet, but because I know that I will put them on very like on my face or something. Like I know that I like them so much that I will have no problem on like.
Mhm.
But I am grateful that I have some ideas from the outside to tell me it's not the right time. Don't do it yet.
Mhm.
Like because again, tattoos they were developed a long time ago. Like even before Jesus was even here, it was like they can associate you with things that it might not be on your best interest right now.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
which I actually agree with what Brian was saying of
Mhm.
it can fade away after a year because what if you fucked
Yeah.
up and you got the wrong one? Like, what if you
Yeah.
were in the wrong gang and now the other gang is the one that it's like winning? Like, you will be dead by
Yeah.
now. Like, that's true. Like, that's real life. Um, but I really love tattoos. I like them. But I agree. Uh, Not that long ago, there were consequences because, first of all, not everybody had a tattoo. Like, this is something that I've, even when I was growing up, like, because I grew up in, let's say, the ghetto. So when you will see someone where I grew up with a like an, let's say, a tattoo or like a neck tattoo, like on the fingers, you know that man or woman, but mostly men. He was already in prison for who knows how many years, and you know that guy already killed someone. It was like a known thing, okay? Like, so it it does. Even if you don't want to, if you do the right kind of tattoo on yourself, it will by default associate you with how people perceive you. And unfortunately, we are still living in a society that judges by the looks, right? So my recommendation is you are more than welcome to do a tattoo. Just make sure that it's not something like extremely stupid that will associate you with something that you do not want to be associated with. Like, for example, I love the swastika. Like, I love the meaning of it. I love how it looks. I just love how the swastika looks. But for me to tattoo a swastika on my neck, it wouldn't be that cool because then I'll be judged in a very strange way in the society. So it is a tricky topic, actually, the tattoos, because I really like them. Uh,
Well,
Also, I agree with the idea that you can be blessed or cursed because I can give you a very fresh example. I saw this waitress in Mexico City with a tattoo, well, multiple tattoos. One of them was a sad face on a part of her body. It was a sad face. Like, instead of like a happy face emoji, it was like a sad face. For me, automatically, regardless of the meaning, for me it's a red flag. It's like
Yeah.
I will never ever have a kid with some kind of woman that has a tattoo of a fucking sad face
Yeah.
because it is not, it is of course you are looking every
Yeah.
time at a sad face when you wake up. Why? Uh,
it's a
Yeah.
kind of self-talk that's permanent.
yes,
Yeah.
and me with my understanding of the subconscious mind, I'm like, as far away as possible from that kind of personality, for me the better, to be honest. Now,
Yeah.
what if she changes her mind? Let's say, of course, right? 10 years go by. I Of course she can be like, oh, I want a happy face now. Well, yes, now you are going to have a happy face, but what are you going to do about the sad face that you used to have? So it represents a lot of what goes within yourself. Now I understand why uh, not everybody used to have tattoos. I used to think they were cool. Now that's why I don't have one because I'm like, I don't know, man. They used to mean something. Like, the symbol
Yeah.
is even like putting it on your body used to, like, you achieved something. You went through like something. Now
Yeah.
everybody gets one, and it's like it. In my experience of how I am growing up, it has lost the meaning of most of it. Like, the meaning of having one is like it's hard to discern who earned the tattoo and who didn't. Well, actually, for me, is not because I can tell. But for most people, it's like they get swallowed by this. You can call it matrix. You can call it. many
Yeah.
names. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it became like something like oh yeah, I'm gonna get a sad face tattoo, and then the next day, oh, and then the next day, oh yeah, I'm going to get a sad face with a tear on the sad face. And it's like, no, you do not know what you're doing to yourself. Like, stop. Take count to 10, and then think about which tattoo you're going to have.
Step away from the tattoo artist and count to 10.
Yeah.
Yes, well, I really appreciate that feedback. Tattoos, I mean, in the modern world are much more accepted than they used to be. And but still, I know some executives who were told you're going to have to wear long sleeves when we go out to meet clients because we don't want to see your tattoos. We don't want the conversation to start in the business meeting with what does that tattoo on your arm mean? When did you get it? We want to talk business. And so, I mean, I think it's one of those things where it might make sense to have tattoos that you can reveal or easily not reveal based on you're at a funeral, you're in a business meeting, you're in a job interview. So they used to have a saying that a above the collar neck tattoo was a resume for jobs that started after 9 p.m. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
you're going to be a bouncer or a bartender or something because it seems scary. And that may or may not be fair, but there's some historical accuracy. And then there are soldiers, Brian and I were discussing, who would sometimes tattoo something on so their body could be identified, their dog tag number or, something because they might die in a war and, they want to be identified after the fact.
And that's what I meant by the ones who actually earned it. Like,
Mhm.
you achieved something. You went through something for the greater. You were not even thinking of yourself. You did it for like the greater thing.
A greater
But
good.
now it's like a sad face on your arm. Come on,
Mhm.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they're not always a good idea. And you hear the stories of, well, we got drunk and then we all went and got tattoos, and you just think this probably did not end well. In terms of what that looks like, and it's permanently on your body. So there's a whole body of tattoo work that covers up the former significant other's name or, some change that you've made. And sometimes symbols that feel very meaningful to us. So maybe it's a cover album from Metallica, and you're just a huge metal fan and they're your favorite band. Some of that artwork might be artistically interesting, but if it has pentagrams or other things on there, you may not fully appreciate what you're putting on your body, maybe what the meanings other people will assign to that for you. And so, yeah, and some people feel like having a tattoo is a sign of rebellion and independence. I'm not like all the other fish that are swimming. I have my own mind. And I think there's something to that, and I would again encourage have a tattoo that you can reveal and also choose not to reveal rather than have it on your body in such a way that everyone you meet will see your tattoo and talk to you about it. And okay. So I've talked with people who I'll say, what does that tattoo mean? Especially tattoos like in the web here. And they tell me it was a mistake from my teenage years because it was a gang symbol or something. It was a mistake. And I keep meaning to cover it up, and you don't make great decisions when you're 18 or 19 or maybe 25 or whatever. You don't realize you have 50 more years to live with that thing you just did. And you might not be loving Metallica when you're 60, even though currently I think all of them are 60. But, so your taste will change. As coaches, we know change is built in. But it is kind of fun to share emojis. We can talk a little bit about that. So I can be emoji heavy sometimes when I'm communicating with clients. Women are more guilty of emoji use, I think, than men are. Text messages is another thing because that's a more casual shorthand communication. For some people, if you have an emoji in a business email, they won't hire you because you're not using proper business decorum. You're being a little too casual or, you know, non-serious to have an emoji in an email. So even there, it's not tattooed on your body. It's a happy face or something at the end of a sentence. But even there, it can be looked down upon as not being formal communication. Others feel like it's friendly. Like, oh, yeah, have a great holiday. And here's an emoji that represents the holiday. It's a turkey because it's Thanksgiving. Enjoy your holiday, turkey emoji. You know, that can seem friendly. For others, it can seem non-serious and not businesslike. Any thoughts about the use of emojis?
I don't know about emojis. I use emojis. I think people think it's feminine, like in texting, like
Mhm.
guys are not supposed to use too many emojis. I mean, I'm going to use an emoji if I want to use an emoji. I don't care. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I mean, I don't, that's just the way I operate. So I, I do what I want to do, you know what I mean? So, but getting back to, tattoos and symbols and all that, I agree with what you were saying, Jonathan. It is kind of like everybody has tattoos now, so it does have a lot less meaning. It's you're almost more rebellious now to not have tattoos. Like you're like going against the grain more
Mm,
by not having tattoos. Like, because everyone just goes out and gets a bunch or at least, two or three. I mean, it's just so common now.
mhm.
So yeah, it's almost more rebellious to not get them now. And I don't have tattoos myself, but also like you, I like the idea of it, but I would want it to fade after like a year. Like I'm saying, like I don't want it on there permanently because I know I'm going to change my mind later
Mhm.
and then I won't want it. And also, like I found out a lot of the ink is toxic and it can like cause you problems over time subtly, like it can give you subtle health problems over time.
There are some
So there's a lot
colors
of
that
issues
are
with
illegal
that.
in
Yeah.
some countries, the blue ink, and then another where you
Okay.
just can't get those colors because there's no non-toxic formula for those
They
colors.
just haven't made like a really good non-toxic formula that just fades after like a year. It doesn't stay for like
Brian
if
wants
they
a
did
12-month
that,
expiration date on,
I
okay,
would be
we
super
have a
down. And
business idea, fellas.
I would probably get one every New Year's to like go with my New Year's resolution to try to like stick to it. That would be awesome.
Mhm.
Maybe not every New Year's, but it would be cool to do that.
Mhm.
Um,
It will be fun to find a like to like start searching like to post like, hey, I am looking for the best. What will be the name of the kind of human that can make that kind of stuff? Not like a science. Yeah, I'm looking for a scientist that is smart enough to
Mhm.
create a fucking ink that will fade away after a year. I'm
Mhm.
starting a
yeah,
business. Are you in? Oh, I am from Russia, South Africa. It doesn't matter. We'll hire you. We're Americans. We got you,
yeah,
man.
That is how it will
yeah,
happen. It'll be three
yeah.
people from three countries and they'll figure it out. So, okay, we'll see the consciousness with that idea. You know, a lot of symbols change meaning over time. The swastika was an esoteric symbol. And you find it in history way before Germany sort of took it
Like
over and made it part.
5,000 years before.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. It was a symbol that had an esoteric religious meaning, and then it got adopted. So you could have a symbol that means one thing, and then cultural adaptations, it has the symbol meaning now something else, which wasn't your meaning. I know on there's a symbol we use in our favicon. Do you know what a favicon is? It's the
No.
symbol that the little tab at the top of your browser, when you go to a website, you have to pick what is the symbol. And
Mm.
sometimes it's a logo. For ours, it's a favicon. And it comes from the Ora Linda, which is an ancient kind of text from a part of Europe. And it's the flower of life. It's a symbol you see
Mhm.
all over the world. And it's
Um,
just like a multi-petaled flower where all of it is connected. So it represents that people are connected, that all of nature is connected to people, that we're all connected to each other, we all blossom together. So we use that for our favicon for life design because we want to all flower together and be connected. But we chose that symbol for a reason, and it's more than 1,000 years old. I first came across it in the Oralinda, but it's also in other cultures, various, multi-layered flowers connected is not an uncommon symbol. So yeah, I think the different symbols that we're attracted to say something about us, and we use them on our t-shirts and in our art, and there's a whole business of symbols for marketing and design. So the colors that you use and the symbols that you use, there's that peace symbol that's also like the Mercedes-Benz symbol. So
Mhm.
there people can adopt symbols that have other meanings. And but I do like the way that it transcends language. Like if you see a symbol of a heart, or if you see a symbol of a dove, especially if it has a little twig, a little leaf, it's like a symbol of peace, or the promise of Noah, that when the bird comes back, we know that the flood waters are receding and you can return to land and start again. So, there are symbols that are meaningful, on every continent, every language, and that's the connecting value, I think, for that.
Uh, Going back to the emojis, I think that was a whole revolution when
Hmm.
it comes to emojis. Because I grew up without emojis, and
Hmm.
then they came up. So
Yeah.
even I was in the middle of a whole revolution of like,
Mhm.
I was like, oh, that's an eggplant. Now I know what an eggplant means. Like
Hmm.
the whole revolution, I went through it, and I thought that it was actually interesting.
Hmm.
Something that Brian said actually, it is actually extremely masculine to use them when you want. If you want to use them, that is actually masculine. Like it
Yeah,
has nothing to do with like they are nah, nah. If you want to use them, use, because you know that you don't have to use them, but if you feel like it, then you can. So it
yeah,
actually it has a peculiar boldness to it.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah.
I agree. If you feel like it, use them. If
Hmm.
you feel like you have to use them because like you are going to like, then don't use them.
Well,
But
Right.
if
Yeah,
you
I agree. I agree.
I heard somebody say they use the thumbs up emoji, and now you can get the hand in all the different colors. It doesn't have to
oh,
be
let's
like
see.
a yellow hand. It could be a black
Mhm.
hand or a brown hand, or, I mean, people use the different colors of hands. But I heard somebody say, because that really just means like, okay, or check, or got it, or we've agreed. Some people think it means get lost, or F you. It's like, and so people can feel aggressive just about, a hand that's like, okay, and that it's sarcastic, like, fine, we'll be at the Thai restaurant. That's not, I want to go have pizza. Fine, we'll go to the Thai restaurant. And I'm like, I didn't know this could
I
be
think they,
aggressive.
I
I
think,
this is good. Go
I
ahead.
think they have evolved. Actually, emojis have evolved to answer your
Hmm.
question. They have evolved because before the heart, there used to be only like
Hmm.
when Facebook came up.
Hmm.
If
Right.
you had a thumbs up, it was like a quote unquote like.
Hmm.
It was like a
Yeah.
Because that's what you
everyone,
click.
yeah,
It was the
yeah,
like
because
on Facebook.
it's a universal language. It was not the middle finger. It was a thumbs up. So universally,
Hmm.
like if you were a human with a brain that at least worked like 5%, you will
Hmm.
understand that like thumbs up. It was like a positive thing. Now it evolved to the point that now humans are so into emojis that a thumbs up is not enough. Now you need the heart because
Exactly.
this one it became obsolete. Now nobody likes
Hmm.
thumbs up.
Yeah, it's like if you give the thumbs up now, people think, well, why didn't you put a heart? So yeah, yeah. So it's like they take offense to the like. How come you didn't love? Just like, what's wrong with you? So yeah, it's like has the reverse meaning now, which is just crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important to think about that when you're communicating with people you don't know well, so they're trying to read your intent in a single symbol or two symbols. And it's just not enough to communicate your intent because you don't know what their interpretation is. But also, there's a lot of shorthand that happens in text messages. I'm still learning it from Brian. I kind of stopped at LOL and but he's still educating me. BRB, be right back. Oh,
There is all kinds of symbolism in texting, like
yes.
SOXO.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I got SOXO, I had to Google like, what the fuck is SOXO? Like, I don't know like, why SOXO? Oh, kisses. Okay, I I don't know.
Yeah.
So like, who creates the beautiful thing is that they become the beauty of symbolism is that it communicates different layers
Mhm.
of it goes beyond words, it goes beyond all you can think of grammatically. It just
Mhm.
goes straight into the subconscious mind. Like
Mhm.
again, I can go
Yeah,
back to
it
the apple.
bypasses language.
Yes,
It
it
goes straight
bypasses
in.
language.
Mhm.
Exactly. Like, hey, do not eat the apple, woman. She's like, what do you mean? I am an independent woman. I'm going to eat the apple. No, it's not about that. Just don't eat it.
Well,
And
and
then,
Yeah.
I do think that sometimes then the communication value of it is lost because you misread the symbols or don't have the same understanding. So, and I think, authenticity is probably, again, the bedrock of the best communication because it used to be in Victorian times, all the flowers had different meanings. If you gave someone pink roses, it meant you liked them. If you gave them red roses, it meant you were in love with them. If you gave them yellow roses, it was for, a concern. White roses were for funerals. And so, the different kinds of flowers, there were like 50 meanings to flowers. If you sent a woman flowers, it meant something. And so I think it can be hard to like, did somebody publish the dictionary of flower meanings? What I mean? The communities are just saying, oh, well, or the florist or whoever is just saying, oh, this is what that means. And I think it can get lost in translation if all you're doing is sharing the symbols, but also things can be performative. I have heard women unfortunately say, well, there better be a dozen red roses for fill in the blank, Valentine's Day or my birthday or our anniversary or something, and it's performative. That this is the symbol for the standard of how I expect you to express to me how much you care about me. So you better check off these three boxes so that then you're proving to me and everybody else how much you care about me. And so then it loses its value when it's performative and not just authentic, right?
I think that is a beautiful thing what you just said to everybody else because Instagram is a great example of how flowers lost their meaning
Mm-hmm.
because it used to be you will give flowers, nobody will know, only the human that got the flowers knew, and it
Hmm.
was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
meaningful.
Yes, it
Now
was a one to
it
one. Hmm.
yeah, it was a very like intimate relationship, even if it was because of friendship,
Hmm.
your mother on Mother's Day, your
Yeah.
sister because she had a newborn, like
Hmm.
you name it, right? It was a very intimate like relation. Now it's like it became a it the way I see it actually now that I think about it, symbolism as well as like slash tattoos. It's true they are losing meaning because of how over like it is not even about getting the flowers. It's about hey, you did not get me the right amount of flowers because how am I going to post this picture with only 12 flowers when this other girl got 1,000 flowers
Hmm.
inside of a Mercedes Benz
Hmm.
on the top of a superjet? Like you can't
Yeah.
compete with that logic. It
Yeah.
loses its like the meaning of it. Now, how to go back to appreciate the value of a rose? I
Mhm.
think first of all, you will have to, a great exercise, it will be to have some kind of flower at your home and not let it die for like, at least keep it alive. Because I can say that because I cannot keep a flower alive or like a plant. I'm a horrible, I am horrible at that stuff. But I have met
Mhm.
a woman that can keep a flower or like something, some
Mhm.
kind of like plant alive for more than like 3 months, let's say, in a row. So that kind of woman deserves some kind of rose.
Mhm.
You name the color. But
Mhm.
otherwise, no, because why? They're not going to appreciate what it means to cut a flower, to kill a life, to give it to someone just because it's so beautiful, and the smells that come out of it, and the softness, the shape.
Mhm.
I think everything is losing value now that I think about it. It's kind of sad now. Now I'm becoming sad.
No, no, no. Don't go to the tattoo parlor. You'll end up with a sad face. Well, I think that you communicate authentic meeting with the person you're communicating with. And the idea that we're supposed to be projecting it from Instagram, or on Facebook, or just telling all our friends, yes, he came with a armful of roses because it's Valentine's Day. It can be so performative or really for other people rather than for the two people that are involved. You're better off with a single rose and some Chinese takeout. If this is all just performative, enjoy each other and don't feel like you're part of an advertising spread in some magazine of life put up on, Instagram or Facebook or something. So, but, everyone has how they feel valuable or show value. And I just think it's interesting how symbols and things play a part. Tattoos, emojis, however, we're sort of communicating beyond language. So, yeah, well, Brian,
Yes.
some final
And I want to
thoughts.
say, yeah, I want to say one more thing, and
Mhm,
then we can wrap it up. That's cool after we go around.
mhm,
Um, one thing I think, so going back to tattoos, one thing I think is really cool that people can do is like you could get like a bunch of small tattoos like on your arm,
mhm,
and each one of those is like a conversation starter.
mhm,
That's a really cool thing to do. So if you have like 10 or 15 or 20 different small images here, then when you go up and meet someone, they see your arm, they're like, damn, look at everything you got. And that's 20 different topics you can start talking about. Like, so that's really good for like starting conversations with people when you go out. That's a really cool way to use tattoos because it's just so easy to start conversations. And then you can start conversations about stuff you actually like to talk about because you can choose the images you get. And so you don't necessarily have to have the boring, like, how's the weather, you know, type of conversations. You can get into something cooler. So that's a cool thing to do with tattoos if people want to do that. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out
Well, I
there.
recommend temporary tattoos for that. They last 3 days. So for the weekend, for the night out, for the getaway, they make some that look like jewelry for wearing at the beach. And I saw in my research that there was a temporary tattoo. There were two different kinds that you put on your finger. And one was 3 dots. And the dot in the middle was a little bit bigger than the dot on either side. And it was a reminder that in the bigger dot is you in the moment now, and the smaller dot is the future, and the smaller dot is the past. So to remember to kind of be here in the present moment. And then there was another one that was 3 progressive dots. It was smaller, it was bigger, and then it was bigger still, just to say that you're always growing and changing, that things get better over time. So, but it was pretty unobtrusive and it lasts 3 days and it's on your finger. So, I think you could express yourself in non-permanent ways, perhaps. So Brian, how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so alifedesign.org or Special K Coaching on Instagram.
Oh, cool, cool. Okay, final thoughts, Jonathan, and how do people get a hold of you?
I have to say or add, if I miss that point, some tattoos I consider, depending on the human
Mm-hmm,
and the area of where the tattoo is,
mm-hmm,
it is extremely inviting. Like if I meet someone that is hot and has a tattoo in the lower back, like just above where
They call it
the
a tramp stamp, honey. They call it a tramp stamp. Mm-hmm.
okay, that one. Yes, if you're hot and you have a tramp stamp, for me it's a whole invitation, and I can say anything I want, regardless
Mm-hmm.
of like eh, it is a it is an invitation.
It is an invitation.
So for me, uh, that is when it gets tricky because I'm like, okay, you're inviting me. I have so
Mm-hmm,
yeah, some tattoos are extremely beautiful. Some
mm-hmm,
of them they are not so.
mm-hmm,
Make sure if you're going to get one, because I like them, but make sure that you understand the consequences of getting one. Like it has been hard for me not to get one on my face or my neck. I am grateful and lucky that I have someone that has stopped me many times to get one on those areas.
mm-hmm,
But I don't care because I like them, right? But then
mm-hmm.
it's like, no, Jonathan, the humans are not ready for that. I'm like, okay, fine.
Wait until they're ready. Wait
I just,
until they're
yeah,
ready.
just you have to wait. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll trust you. But the reality is that make sure if you're going to get it, remember there are forever.
Mm-hmm,
Don't rush it. Um,
mm-hmm,
there are some areas also where you can have them that you can, if it's actually meaningful to you, you don't have to be showing them off all the time. Also, so
mm-hmm,
you can put them in some areas that only a selected few can see them. That's a great
mm-hmm,
idea to go about it also as
mm-hmm,
well,
mm-hmm,
because then you can choose who or not to.
mm-hmm.
And when it comes to symbols, I think they are one of the greatest inventions of all time because it goes beyond words, it goes beyond language.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows emojis, so it goes. It is beautiful. So I like them. I like symbols, and which one is. Actually, I was thinking about one of the most used ones, which is the cross. I don't know what Jesus will be thinking if everybody was wearing the cross. I think he will be thinking that is kind of fucked up. Because I like Jesus when he's like with his arms open and like happy and smiling. But when you
Yeah.
put him through, like, I think I don't like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is a
Yeah.
variety of ways to think about it. Some people want to celebrate the sacrifice. Some people don't want to focus on the sacrifice. Yeah.
I like him when he's happy with his, like, you know,
Like in
his
Rio de
mommy
Janeiro, right? Isn't he on top of the hill
with
welcoming?
the light coming. He's like,
Yes,
this is a
yes,
great
yes.
day.
So beautiful. Yes.
But
Yes.
yeah, so
How do people find you,
symbols.
Jonathan?
They can find me on alivedesign.org. Also, uh, Jonathan R. Coaching on Instagram and on TikTok as well.
Mm-hmm.
Also on my email, jonathanrcoaching@gmail.com.
I'll make sure that all of those in our show notes. So wonderful to have you back from Mexico City. Thanks for joining the airwaves today. We had an interesting conversation about symbols and tattoos and emojis and what it all means. So we're a team of coaches who are ready to help you. If you could use some coaching, we'd be happy to oblige. Come to alifedesign.org, and we'll see you all next time.